What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Guys, been doing a little videos over Denmark, did like 2 or 3, and now we're here with 10 incredible Danish inventions and discoveries. We're about to check this out, so y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations. Hey, let's jump right into it.
Now, when we look at countries in particular, we always ask ourselves, what are those countries famous for? We look at countries like America, we know that it created the atomic bomb, we know that it made pizza a worldwide famous thing. We look at England, they invented tea their own particular way. Of course, it came from other countries. We look at France, they created mayonnaise. But when we look at the country of Denmark, we don't necessarily think to ourselves, gee, what was that country famous for? Especially when we're looking at its inventions. So, welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where I look at people, cultures, and places from all around the world. My name is Dave Walpole, and let's get learning about Denmark and learn about some really amazing, fascinating inventions that you probably use today that were created in Denmark or perhaps even by the Danish. And of course, why I say invented by the Danish, because some of these particular inventions that I'm going to talk about, they were funded or created in other countries, but there was a Danish person that was the father or mother of these particular inventions. But let's get cracking. Just an FYI for all you Danes out there, if you want to learn more about your country, I got some cool playlists, but I'm going to talk about that throughout this video. They might be up in the cards for you guys to check out at any time, so feel free to give those a peek. Now, Denmark is usually declared one of the greatest nations to live. It is peaceful, it is progressive, it's got great economy, and it's got an education system that is just wow. I mean, if it wasn't for its education, you would not have these inventions at all, period, end of story. So let's start off with the biggest one, the one that you most likely use every day, at least once a week, and that is Google Maps. Now, Google Maps, of course, started in Australia with an Australian company. This was known as Where To Technologies.
I definitely use this almost every day. I probably use it more out of the week than once, but
started in Australia with an Australian company. This was known as Where To Technologies, and it began around 2003. Now, originally they started off by digitally mapping locations, but when they figured out how to put this into a browser or an app known as Expedition, that's when Google was like, we kind of want this. We want this so bad. This was great. This was during the time when Google actually did something to help your fellow man, and it wasn't just for a buck. Sorry, Google. And it was only shortly after, in 2005, that the company had bought the program, which now is known as Google Maps. But what people don't really know is that the two major inventors behind this were two Danish brothers. Wow. And these were Jens and Lars Ilstrup Rasmussen. And as a matter of fact, not only being Danish, it was also Jens' idea to put a pin into Google Maps instead of using a star or anything ridiculous like that. And the reason was because pretty much stars are too distracting on the screen, and a pin is just a little bit nicer and a little more accurate. On a side note, as for his brother Lars, he actually left Google and ended up joining Facebook in 2010. And he actually developed what is known as the graph search for Facebook, which is pretty much Facebook's search algorithm that you use pretty much every
snap. I didn't even know Facebook had that, to be honest.
Facebook, which is pretty much Facebook's search algorithm that you use pretty much every single day. So there you go, guys. We got 2 for 1, or I guess you could theoretically say 2 for 2 because there's 2 guys and they had 2 different inventions. Maybe. I don't know. I'm lost. Moving right along, let's talk about one of the most important inventors from Denmark. Now, he's old. He is from way back in the day, and he is pretty much one of the biggest father figures of inventions from Denmark in the 20th century. This guy is known as Vladimir Poulsen, and he was pretty much a radio technology guy. Not only did he invent his own version of the arc converter, or a Poulsen arc, in 1903, basically this was an early form of radio transmission that was used by many different stations in the early 1900s. And of course, there were many others of this type around the world. As a matter of fact, the Poulsen one found home specifically in the United States Navy. The reason due to this is because the Poulsen arc was the only one that could be used in a mobile setting. And as a matter of fact, his technology was used in the early 1900s for about an entire decade until his whole invention was replaced by those vacuum tube things that they used to use. So Vladimir himself, he was born in Copenhagen, Denmark in 1869. But he also went on to invent something else that we actually still use today. You know those little magnetic strip cards that you have on the back of your credit card or you use to open doors in hotels? Well, he invented the thing called magnetic storage. Sure, you may not use those magnetic strips on your credit card anymore, and you might not use the magnetic cards for hotels. That's kind of an older technology, but it's still used somewhat today. And of course, they were used in floppy disks. Let's be perfectly honest. If we didn't have that technology, we wouldn't have floppy disks. And I know they don't hold.
That is crazy. All that stuff and the floppy disk. I mean, that was major. That was major. Used for storage.
Perfectly honest, if we didn't have that technology, we wouldn't have floppy disks. And I know they don't hold a lot of information. Back in the day when computers were really, really young, 70s, 80s, all that stuff, floppy disks were really important. As a matter of fact, this also evolved out of his technology known as the magnetic recorder, which was invented in 1898 and was used up until about the 1950s for things like audio recording. And throughout history, it's been used for flight recorders. Gotta give it. That guy's got like 3 crazy inventions that we used all the time. As a matter of fact, we're still using flight recorders today. I mean, sure, I think the technology is a little bit different from magnetic storage. I mean, when planes go down, that's how you find these people, or you find out what happened to the plane. It was important. Now, I don't know about you guys, if you guys listen to rock and roll and a lot of like loud music. For me, I know I'm going to need hearing aids at like 65 because I just blare my Aerosmith all the time. And oh man, it's so good, but it's going to cost me later on in life. But if you like loud music, you might be surprised to know that the Danish created the loudspeaker first. The father inventor of this was Peter Jensen, who was born in Falster, Denmark on May 16th, 1886. As a matter of fact, in 1905, he was an apprentice for Vladimir Poulsen as well, so there you go. But as for Peter, it was his loudspeaker that was known as the Magnavox that was developed in 1915. And if you don't think this is important, well, you're wrong, because not only the fact did militaries use this way back in the day, but on top of that, Fender used it as one of their first amplifiers for their guitars because they were saying, yo, it's the best quality out of all the speakers around the world. So there you go, the Danish strike back again.
That's major.
By the way, just to give you guys a little correction, I just realized this now. If at any time I said Vladimir, I think it's Vladimir. It's not Vladimir. I probably mispronounced his name at some point. I'm just making that correction now. It's Vladimir Poulsen. You know, you hear the word Vladimir from time to time, and it just gets in your head. You know, it's terrible. Now, for all you heavy drinkers out there, you may want to thank the Danish. I know the Germans are all big for inventing beer, but also, you know, it couldn't have gotten better without the Carlsberg yeast, and that came from Denmark. Now, the Carlsberg yeast, or the S. Carlsberg Genesis, was discovered by Emil Christian Hansen in 1883. Now, I'm not really sure how the whole science of this works, but apparently after this, it prevented people from getting beer sickness. Now, I'm not talking getting sick from drinking alcohol. I'm talking you have a beer and then you get sick in other shapes. It's not a hangover sick. And apparently, this was discovered by isolating a certain type of cell that's a yeast cell. Again, I don't really know the science of it. I don't really drink that much beer anymore. Okay, let's move along. Let's talk about guns. Chick, chick, boom. That's literally, I don't think guns do that. They don't go chick, chick, boom. They go like chick, chick. Either way, believe it or not, the Danish were the people who created the light machine gun. I didn't know that. I always thought the Americans would have done it first, maybe the British. But nope, it was the Danish. Of course, guys, some of you gun enthusiasts out there, you're going to argue with me on this one, and you're going to say, well, no, the Vickers was first, and there was also the Maxim gun and the Gatling gun. Yeah, those are machine guns, but they're not classified as a light machine gun. And basically what I mean is you can pick that thing up. You don't need a bipod. You could just shoot it, and that's that. Sure, of course, maybe you could do that with the Vickers, but you ain't going to shoot it accurately. You need a bipod for it. It's just a heavy gun. Basically, the first gun that is classified in the world as a light machine gun was the Madsen machine gun. This was invented by Julius A. Rasmussen, which, by the way, what's with all the names Rasmussen in Denmark? Like, it's like 2 inventors with the same last name. It's crazy. Are they related
might be cousins
in any shape or form? On top of that, there was also Theodore Chabot, who made it for Colonel Wilhelm Hermann Olaf Madsen. All 3 are Danish, and of course, the colonel is the one who gets the gun named after him because he purchased it, theoretically. But on top of that, it was also the first light machine gun to be purchased by an entire army, and that was the Danish Armed Forces. As a matter of fact, this weapon from its beginning was very well designed, that it had many different calibers and was bought by 34 different countries. And on top of that, it was used for over 100 years since its introduction in 1902. It's crazy. I don't know who was using it in 2002, but I guess some countries were. Okay, here's one small, little tiny one that I really, really like. And I mean, I'm all about Christmas. I don't know about you guys. I mean, probably a lot of you guys are from Denmark watching this video, so you guys are probably just as holly jolly with it as much as I am. But you know those little tiny little Christmas post-it stamps that you get, Christmas stickers that you get that are on your letters? You know what I mean? Do people even give Christmas letters anymore? I mean, I kind of feel like Facebook and Instagram and text messaging has kind of ruined that. Literally, guys, I dare you, next year, throw your phones away. Well, don't actually throw them away because they're expensive, but put them down and instead mail somebody a letter and see how far it goes.
I mean, some people still do it, but like it's kind of easier because now you can just send somebody a personal invitation or something through text message. Use Canva
away because they're expensive, but put them down and instead mail somebody a letter and see how far it goes. You know that cute girl that you've been wanting to, you know, have a date with? Try sending her a letter, see what happens. Think outside the box, man. But anyways, getting back to those little tiny Christmas-themed Post-it stamps, they were created by Denmark. And actually, I like this one because it was done for kids. Now, you might be thinking, was it done for kids to make them happy-go-lucky? No, not for that. It was to help raise money for tuberculosis. As a matter of fact, back in the early days of the 1900s, I mean, we all think the world is dark. Oh my God, the economy is going to crap. Everybody treats each other like garbage. Meh. Well, let's be perfectly honest. We didn't have muddy streets, and of course, we didn't have a major tuberculosis outbreak. But for this particular stamp, it was invented by Einar Holbal in 1904. And this actually turned out to be very prosperous because within 6 years, they managed to raise enough money to buy a hospital for kids with tuberculosis.
Dang, that's good.
And this money was actually made to build the Christmas Seal Sanatorium, which actually the Christmas Seal Fund still exists today. This also became so well known that other countries like Sweden and the rest of the Nordic countries did it very quickly. Even in America, thanks to a woman named Emily Bessel who read about it, she was like, we need to start doing this as well. So yeah, go the Danish for just doing something really awesome, and for kids.
Shout out to the Danes.
You guys are just great. And last but not least, guys, considering we're on the topic of kids, let's talk about Lego. I love Lego. I still got boxes of this stuff in my mom's basement. It's crazy. Lego first started off as the Lego Group, which was a carpentry workshop and was run by Ole Kirk Christensen. Now, this was located in Billund, Denmark, and Christensen had been doing carpentry since about 1895. Now, he finally opened a shop in 1916, and he started flourishing doing carpentry work. Unfortunately, by 1924, his first shop burned down, and as a matter of fact, it burned down again even later. And although they did build a new shop by 1932, unfortunately, because of the economic crisis, he was really having a hard time finding carpentry work. So therefore, he took his company and they decided to make toys. Of course, after this is when, that second fire happened. But in about 1942, plastic became readily available for consumers to use. And from there on, he started making little blocks, which was inspired from a previous patent. And by 1945, his little blocks were called automatic binding bricks, which eventually, by 1951, was renamed to Lego. And if you didn't know, the term Lego comes from the Danish words legot. I think that's actually how you say it. I know you guys are...
And if you haven't seen this story, it's actually an amazing story because I actually did a reaction to it. It's an amazing story, just the process and everything they even went through just to get to the point of calling it Lego. All that stuff
words, legot. I think that's actually how you say it. I know you guys are cringing in the comment section saying he's pronouncing it so wrong, but come on, give me a break. I'm Canadian. I'm trying, all right? But either way, that apparently means in a rough translation, play well. So I guess, hey, I played well when I was playing with Lego as a kid. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go do that right now. Hey, but before you guys get out of here, for all you people who are from Denmark or just people who want to learn more about the Danish, learn more about Denmark, be sure to hit the cards in this video, or you can wait till the end. And I got some cool playlists, one's on the military and one on the country itself that you guys can check out. They're also in the description box below. I highly recommend it. It's really great to learn about your own country and other countries from around the world. But on top of that, I'm just, my name's Dave Wapple. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to get out of here. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification, because that's how you stay tuned into what we're doing. Anyways, have a good day, guys. Bye.
Nice.
So, okay, you made it to the end. We got 2 Danish playlists for you. We got one just on the country and what's great about it. And I also got one on...
Oh, gotta check that out next. 10 surprising facts about Denmark. But no, this one was definitely incredible with the inventions. I think the main ones that I probably use the most familiar with, of course, right now the Google Maps. I'm throwing that Facebook, like I know how to use the search thing, but I didn't know like it showed you like where your friends went or like places to eat and stuff. I didn't know it does that. So, but I usually just use Google Maps. Then the Legos is major. Legos is still probably the most popular thing today. I feel like Legos probably more popular. Probably got to be the most top 5, top 10 popular thing in the world. Cause like kids love it. I need to get my kids some. I love Legos growing up. It just it made your mind, it made you creative, I just didn't know you can build off when I was younger, I would build what they say on the box or just had the block. But I started seeing people build like insane stuff that I didn't think could be built with Legos. But shout out to Denmark, the Danish, for your great inventions that has shaped our world today. You know what I'm saying? But guys, that's all I have for this video. Y'all hit that subscribe button. FTD Facts, make sure y'all subscribe. I think I subscribed. I might have to check after this video. Definitely going to check out the 10 facts about Denmark. Y'all let me know in the comments. Send down those recommendations. Hit that subscribe button. Hey, most importantly, y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.